What's up guys, Joe Drake here with the Axiom Fitness Academy. Recruited my beautiful wife to be our model and looking at overhead exercises and really looking at a pretty easy, simple test to decide whether or not overhead exercises, military pressing, dumbbell pressing, barbell pressing is going to be safe for that person. So what we're going to have Megan or our client do is just stand up against the wall. So really we want heels, butt, shoulders, and head just to be comfortably in contact with that wall. And kind of take a peek first off even before they go, just understanding how much space is between that low back and the wall, because that's going to be something that we want to look at. And then just comfortably taking one arm at a time. We'll start out with one arm, going all the way up, overhead, as far as they can go, and then nice and easy right back down. So you want them to go through a couple repetitions, and a few things that we're looking at here. First, I'm looking at, does that space between the wall and the low back increase? And if it does, you're probably also going to see the ribs poke out. So Megan's going to exaggerate it for us a little bit too. And nice and easy right back down. So if someone's doing that, it's probably because they've got some tightness. So Megan will go right back up overhead. Probably some tightness, either A, in the lats, maybe pec major, pec minor. We're not necessarily going to know just from doing this. So in order to get overhead, the body's going to pull in on that low back, right? So that's one thing that we're looking for. The other thing is we're looking for asymmetries, a difference in one side versus the other. So as someone goes all the way up overhead with their left arm and then going back through in the right, we're looking for, is there a big difference one side versus the other? You know, maybe that's going to relate to a previous injury or maybe a dominance. Maybe they were a baseball player and they're much tighter on a certain side. The last thing we want to look at is how do they go overhead together, right? Because you might find that they do well going with just one arm at a time when we allow those shoulder blades to move individually and the shoulders themselves, and that when they go two arms overhead, that it maybe exaggerates itself. Right? So a few things going on here. Arms going back down. So just going back through, first thing we're going to look at, low back and the ribs. Do they poke out, right? Maybe it's the overhead, maybe it's the tightness in those muscles, or maybe as we get into our exercises, maybe we're going to find it's actually just cueing of engagement of the core to be able to keep that down while they go overhead. And then ideally, we'd really like to get that bicep right up next to the ear. So if we see any big exaggerations away from that, arms way out in front, they're going up overhead, maybe their biceps are tight, and they're not able to straighten those arms out, that's going to be an indication that overhead exercises, at least right now, are probably not the smartest approach. That's when we might go to landmine presses. Maybe we'll find better, luck with single arm dumbbell. But of course, we still want to improve that down the road, right? So we're going to have to spend time looking at mobilizing and getting more range of motion in those tissues, whether it is the lats or it is the pecs itself, right? So overhead exercises can be a lot of challenge and trouble for many of our clients and people. This is a pretty easy test that you can have them go through just to at least make an initial assessment and decision on whether or not they should be doing those overhead exercises.